Greetings, salutations, if you can tell by these and most likely the title of the video. I have an insane book haul, and the most beautiful thing about this book haul is that it was free and that these books are also quote unquote thrifted via my mom's stash. All of these books are gonna get loved and no longer sitting in a basement, but also it was like financially responsible. Like, where else can you get so many books for free? And yeah, I mean, lovely. So we're gonna yap about these books. My mom was so kind enough to put these aside for me. She was like, do you want to go in the basement and sort through an entire closet full of books? And I said, no, just surprise me. And boy, did she deliver. My mom, saint of a woman, is equally as obsessed with reading as I am, clearly. Ma'am. The lovely woman she is gave me all these books, and if she wanted to read them when she's here, she can always take some back, whatever. A lot of the books I have are because of my mom. Maybe a third or a quarter of the books that I own are ones that like I've actually purchased because she has such an extensive collection. Pardon the lapse in time. I keep running out of space on my phone ever since I helped my mom with her website because I took so many photos and videos, so I just had to delete so many photos and videos. We're here to talk about these stacks of books. How many are there? 25 books. I have just added 25 books to my already full bookcase. Okay, so originally my mom had Rebecca in her donate pile, and I said, vile woman, what are you doing? This is a classic. Run your classics by me first. And this cover is so much prettier than the one I've seen that is being published now. And I've just heard it's so good. I've heard that it's a pretty easy classic to read. Like, the language isn't that complicated compared to other classics. No idea what this is about. No idea. And my mom definitely bought this a long time ago, considering it's already yellowing. It says it was published in 2001. So my mom's had this one for a very long time. Dope. So excited for Rebecca. It makes me think it should be like an early fall, like late summer book. So I don't know when I'm gonna get to this book, but I've heard interesting things about it, so hoping that I get to it this year, but you never know. And this is probably gonna be my most immediate read among maybe one or two others, but it's Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and it's by Caitlin Doughty. Basically, this is a character study of a woman who took a job at a crematorium, and it's just going about like her life and her day-to-day activities in a crematorium. And I don't know if this is like TMI, but my mom unironically bought this incredibly close to my grandmother's passing, and she found it very odd in that regard. Rest in peace, Grandma Mary Jo, RIP. Lovely woman. But yeah, she said this book was hilarious, but she couldn't like get through it because the timing was so awkward. So I'm hoping I enjoy it. It seems like it would be right up my alley. It gives the same vibe, at least from reading the synopsis, that Jen Began, like Big Swiss, and Miss Otessa have, and I have been really enjoying character study books and like just character driven novels. So the odds of me liking this are pretty high, and when I read the synopsis it made me crack up. So love that for me. Can't wait to get to this one. It's probably gonna be my recent daytime book. I just haven't had daytime time to read my daytime book. And then this one is These Is My Words. It's basically a diary of Sarah Agnes Prine from 1881 to 1901. And my mom had a really interesting time with it. And the like blurb on it says, a classic adventure of one courageous woman's life and struggles in the Arizona territories in the late 19th century. I haven't read many like journal diary style books, So I'm curious to see how I would like that format. I feel like the only one that I've read that's somewhat similar or has like a similar note would be Frankenstein, because there are several letters, but other than that, I'm not overtly familiar. This one I found in her little library on my way out. I went to go organize it for her, and I've been really curious about Beth O'Leary's writing, and I've heard she writes nice romance, like contemporary romance, and I don't know, I've never read anything. I don't know if it's closed door or not. I'm kind of hoping it is, but the only thing is the font is incredibly small compared to like most books. Basically, Tiffany and Leon share an apartment. They've never met. After a bad breakup, Tiffy needs a place to live, fast and cheap, but the apartments in her budget have her wondering if she can like afford it, basically. And then she ends up finding Leon with an apartment and becomes his roommate, yada yada. I don't know what happens. I don't want to read the whole thing because with romance, I feel like the blurb kind of gives away a lot, and I don't want there to be a lot given away. And then my mom gave me some of our childhood Harry Potters. Not the full set. I thought she had like 2, if not 2.5 full sets of the hardcovers for Harry Potter, because I have the paperbacks, right? One of my paperbacks is misprinted, so I can't reread it because it's missing like 60 pages, but it's also printed backwards. It jumps from chapter 9 to like chapter 12, but then goes back. It's really messed up. It's awful. So she gave me all these, but not the one that I needed the physical copy of to reread the series. But I have them now, and I will keep acquiring until I have all of them. And I want to get like fun dust jackets for these. Love my Harry Potter. These are so old. I read these back in middle school, so it was 2011 through 2013 is when I was in middle school. So yeah, these books are very old. She's had them for quite some time. I think she was trying to just get rid of this because I have the full Twilight series as well as The Midnight Sun. I tried to read it, but Edward came off as incredibly misogynistic. I think it has to do with when Victoria was making like the Youngling Army or whatever, and all those people were getting turned against their will, kind of. And it's pretty short, so if I wanted something short that has action, I might take a gander at it. Why not? I love Twilight. Twilight is one of those movies that I have on repeat along with Harry Potter because the vibes. I'm not saying it's good acting or that like it should have been a movie, but the vibes are immaculate. And then next I have Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstance by Ruth Emmy Lang. I don't know if this is a YA or not, but it's basically this guy Waylon Gray, which I love the name Waylon. He's raised by wolves and he gets like these powers, and yeah, it seems like it would be a good time if I wanted something exciting and action-packed. It's not like, it doesn't seem like it's a normal fantasy, but it has the essence of the creatures, and it seems like it would have a lot of world building as well, and just, you know, a fun time. And then I have Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Lonnie Taylor. I've never read anything by her. Okay, it says a sweeping and gorgeously written modern fantasy about forbidden love, ancient and epic battle, and hope for a world remade. It's a series, apparently. So we'll see how that goes. Kind of exciting. I want some angst, maybe a enemies to lover, forbidden romance kind of vibe, or like forced proximity. Who knows? I don't know because I haven't read it yet. And then next, the main thing that I was aware of was these books by Miss Sylvia Plath, because I had recently read The Bell Jar, and I didn't know she had a physical copy until she was like, oh, I'll just put it aside for you. And I was like, sick. But turns out my mother highlights like a serial killer in her books, and like I'm not opposed to highlighting, but orange, who does that? But I'm really excited to have a physical copy. I love this cover. I think this cover is gorgeous. And the more I've been kind of studying Sylvia Plath, the more intrigued I am by her. And so she also gave me the unabridged journals of Sylvia Plath. So I'm really excited to kind of like get in her head a little bit, to learn about her more and her dynamics and her family and things like that. There's also some neat photos in here, drawings, that kind of thing. So very excited about this. And then allegedly my sister owns the copy that my mom had of this. So my mom sent this to me because she said I needed to have it. And then the first poem she had me read from it was about like skin lamps, which slightly jarring that was her first pick. But some of the poems in here are just insane. Reading her poetry is heavy, but also just so different than poetry that I grew up analyzing and stuff. And I don't do poetry often. It's not really my strong suit in regards to literature, but her poems are just different. There's a lot that this book has to offer, and I know she had to use this in her master's program. Same thing with like the other Sylvia Plath books. So from a literary, like educational standpoint, I feel like Sylvia Plath is very important to know and understand. Not that I plan on seeking a degree in literature or English language, whatever, but it's just nice to have those things, you know? And she gave me a couple other textbooks as well. She gave me The Story and Its Writer. This was a textbook she had to use for like writing short stories in her class, and it's pretty hefty, but there's an insane amount of short stories. There's comics and just so much literature, so many stories in this one book, and I'm really intrigued. I've been enamored with short stories for a while just because you get so much out of them in such a little amount of time, and it'd be cool, like maybe I'll write my own short stories one day or not. That's cool too. She also gave me this other textbook that she used called The Minority Report. It also contains, I think it's more sci-fi related short stories, but one of them was, yeah, The Minority Report was inspiration for a Steven Spielberg film, and there's just like some other short stories in here, and it seemed like a good time. I went over this like very briefly with myself, so like this is the first time I'm kind of like reading them because I wanted to kind of be surprised. This is also, I believe, a textbook because I cannot see my mother willingly buying a 1,000-page book and reading it willingly. Even though it says there's 3 million copies sold. But the blurb says, an abandoned, pregnant, and penniless on the teeming streets of London, 16-year-old Amber St. Clair uses her wits, beauty, and courage to climb to the highest position a woman could achieve in Restoration England, that of favorite mistress of the merry monarch Charles II. From whores and highwaymen to courtiers and noblemen, and from the Great Plague and the fire of London to the intimate passions of ordinary and extraordinary men and women, Amber experiences it all. So it's just her going about her life as a mild harlot, but, you know, gotta do what you gotta do, honey buns. The printing of this is really bizarre. So the paper is, like, stark white, right? But the way I feel like this has to be it's, I don't know. But you see, like, the margins, very strange. Very, very strange. I'm excited, though. I love a good historical fiction. And a harlot, come on. They always have the drama. But I do think this is a textbook because there's no way. My mom was like, oh my god, this looks amazing. And then I have The Beautiful by Renee Ade. This was the vampire romance that my mom was talking about, that she was like, oh, if you love Twilight, you'll love this. And my mom's not a huge romance person. She never has been, so I don't know why she keeps giving the genre a chance. Like, she very rarely reads them. And when she does, I feel like she always has the opinion of, like, they're subpar. So, I don't know. I'm excited, though. I love a good vampire romance. Like I said, love Twilight. Unironically. Or, like, I just like it because of the vibes. Not because it's a good story. Because Stephenie Meyer, you know, she's just a little weird. And then my mom also gave me her copy of A Man Called Ove because she never plans on reading this. So that means I can give wherever my copy is that I got from the little library, I'm gonna go put that back in the library so other people can enjoy it, and so I'll have my own copy. My mom got some water damage though. Some of these books, she abuses her books. Somebody write her a ticket. So I'm gonna have this as a copy because I've been slowly collecting Frederick Bachman books, even though this is the only one I've read by him so far. But I'm glad I have a copy and I can return the one that I got from a little library because I always feel bad keeping those. And then I got Salt to the Sea by Ruta Seftides. This is a historical fiction, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The little thing on the front says, I knew the legend of birds. Seagulls were the souls of dead soldiers. Owls were the souls of women. Doves were recently departed, souls of unmarried girls. Was there a bird for the souls of people like me? Yeah, winter 1945. 4 refugees, 4 secrets. I don't know. Seems interesting. And then my mom also gave me another book I believe that she used for her master's program, and it's the O. Henry Prize stories, and it's the best short stories of 2018. And I recently went to my library and saw this, and apparently O. Henry, there's other books of short stories that he's compiled. So I'm excited to get to this. There was quite a few. I want to say at least a dozen in here. So very excited to get to these short stories. And then I found The Shack by W.M. Paul Young. I read this book ages ago. Couldn't tell you what it's about because I don't really remember, but I wanted to reread it because I remember being really jarred by this book. I just remember this book leaving a lasting feeling of unease. So I want to reread it, kind of establish what it's about again in my brain. And maybe as I read it, I'll re-remember. Yeah. A girl getting abducted. Yeah. Don't know why I was reading this in high school, but YOLO. And then my mom also gave me this book, Tweak, Growing Up on Methamphetamines. Don't know. I really don't know. I like to think of myself as a stable human being, but my mom giving me this has me questioning that severely. And my little sister's 11th grade, the thing that you fill out at the end of the following year of the classes you want for the next year was in here. So I don't know what my little sister was doing reading this in 10th grade either. Who gave this to her? There's no way my mom bought this and was like, yeah, you read this. There's no way with a title like this that she would let one of us buy this with her money. So don't know. I mean, I'll still read it. I'll read anything for the most part. I just don't know. Nick Shave, I have questions. And then last but not least, my mom gave me these because she said they were a filthy good time. And if you want something, using my words, frisky, more frisky than 50 Shades of Grey, that these 2 books are going to fulfill that for me. I've never read 50 Shades of Grey. I was pretty young when they came out. I'm pretty sure it started out as fan fiction too, if I'm not mistaken. Given the very sensual covers these have, I have no doubt that these books are going to be a frisky, smutty time. So there's that. But yeah, these are all the books that I've acquired for $0. The only thing I really had to do was help my mom upload crystals to her website, and getting 25 books in payment for that, I would say that's a fair trade. I'm not mad. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little chaotic. My cat had no manners, and I haven't done a sit down video in a while. And I just wanted to show you guys all the books I got because I could barely get these books up the stairs. So I had to tell someone about it. So I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, if you've read any of these books, holla at your girl. Let me know what you think. Like I said, the most soon book I'll probably be reading is Smoke in Your Eyes. That just jumped out at me the most, so I'll probably read that one first. But if you see one that you think I should get to sooner, also let me know, because, you know, I love recommendations and I love reading books. I have too many books and not enough time, which is a problem many readers have. But with that, I will say ciao.